If you've been scrolling through endless lists of massage chairs, comparing the zero-gravity claim with the deep tissue promise, and still feel like you might end up with a piece of furniture that looks cool but does nothing for your sore back, you're not alone. I've been there, staring at the same glossy photos while wondering whether I'd waste a month's rent on something that might just vibrate a little and then sit there gathering dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video I'm going to break down exactly what you get with this particular full-body model, who will actually get their money's worth, and who should walk away. First off, let's talk about the biggest hesitation people have with any massage chair. Will it actually fit my body and my living room? This chair advertises a full-body experience, which means the rollers travel from the neck down to the calves, and there's a zero-gravity recline that tilts you back into a more ergonomic position. In practice, that design works best for people who are around the average height range, roughly 5 feet 4 inches to 6 feet 1 inch. If you're significantly taller, the rollers may stop short of your lower back, and if you're shorter, the foot pads could feel a bit too far out. I've seen a few friends with a 6 feet 3 inches frame try a similar chair and complain that the lower back never got the targeted pressure they expected. So, if you fall comfortably within that height window, the coverage is genuinely impressive. Otherwise you might end up with a half-finished massage. Next, intensity. The chair uses 8 fixed rollers rather than a motorized array that moves side to side. Fixed rollers mean the pressure points are consistent, but they can't adapt to the curvature of a particularly rounded shoulder or a tight hamstring. For most users seeking a solid, steady deep tissue feel, the fixed setup does the job, especially when you crank the intensity up in the manual mode. However, if you're the type who likes the chair to hunt 4 knots the way a therapist's hands would, you may feel a little limited. The built-in auto programs try to compensate by varying speed and rhythm, but they can't replace that responsive nuance. Noise is another practical concern. A lot of high-end chairs brag about whisper-quiet operation, yet the reality is often a low hum that becomes noticeable when you're trying to watch TV or read a book in the same room. This model's motor isn't the quietest I've heard, but it stays under 60 dB, roughly the level of a dishwasher running in the background. If you're very sensitive to sound, especially late at night, you might find the hum a bit distracting. On the other hand, if you plan to use it while listening to music or a podcast, the built-in hi-fi stereo speakers actually help mask the motor noise and add a pleasant ambience. Now, let's address the footprint. The chair measures just under 1 meter wide and about 1 meter deep when fully reclined, which sounds modest until you try to fit it into a cramped living room or a narrow hallway. The base is sturdy, but you need at least a 3-foot clearance behind the chair for the reclining mechanism to work without hitting a wall. In my own setup, I had to shift the TV a foot away and rearrange a coffee table. If you live in a studio apartment, you might be better off with a portable massager or a smaller chair that doesn't require that extra space. Control simplicity is a mixed bag here. The LCD touchscreen is bright and intuitive for basic functions like selecting zero gravity or turning the foot massager on. However, digging into the custom settings, adjusting roller width, intensity per zone, or the heating element requires a few extra taps that aren't always clearly labeled. The learning curve isn't steep, but it does take a minute or two to remember which icon does what, especially if you're juggling a remote for the TV at the same time. Once you get the hang of it, the chair feels like a high-tech recliner, but first-time users might feel a little overwhelmed. Speaking of heat, the waist heater is a practical addition if you spend a lot of time at a desk or suffer from chronic lower back tension. In the evenings, I found the gentle warmth paired with a medium-intensity roll really helped loosen the muscles after a long day of coding. It's not a substitute for a professional heat therapy session, but it adds a noticeable layer of comfort that many competing chairs skip. So, who should actually buy this? If you're a busy professional who can't make it to a spa regularly, someone with moderate to severe back or leg tightness, and you have a dedicated spot in your home that can accommodate the chair's size, this model gives you a decent return on investment. The combination of a full-body roll, zero-gravity recline, and built-in speakers means you can replace at least a couple of weekly spa visits without feeling like you're shortchanging yourself. It also works well for